and just let me know what they would prefer in future classes potentially. That would be great. We are going to start today lying down on our backs. So come to lie down, just bring your hands to your belly, start to take some deep breaths down into your belly. You can close the eyes if that feels good. We'll take 2 more breaths here, just kind of arriving into this moment and onto your mat. And then you can start to shuffle your feet closer up towards your bum. We're going to take our hands and our feet up into the sky. We're just going to hold here for a second. You can roll your wrists around and your ankles, get some cracks out. And then plug your shoulders back down into the mat. We're going to do a few dead bugs here just to warm up the core. So if you don't know what a dead bug is, that just means we are bending the knees. So coming to kind of like a tabletop position on our back. You want to push your sacrum into the mat. So that's like around where your waistband would be on your pants. And from here, I'm just going to bring my right heel down and my left arm at the same time. And then bring them back up at the same time. And then you're going to alternate. So right hand comes down, left foot, and bring it back up. And we'll keep going back and forth like this. You can match your breath to your movement. So whatever feels the most natural to you. So if you want to inhale on the way down, exhale on the way back up, just keep going side to side. It's going to really turn on the core here. Let's do 1 more time each side. And then we'll come back to the top. Just roll the wrists and the ankles around 1 more time. From here, grab onto both knees, squeeze them into the chest. And then you can grab onto your left shin, pull that in towards you and take the right leg out long on the mat. So pull this left knee in towards you here. You can make big circles with the knee. Just give your left side of the body a little bit of a massage. And then when you're ready, we'll take that left foot up into the sky, grab somewhere on the back of the leg near the hamstring, and just pull that leg towards you any amount that feels good. Our shoulders are still on the mat, just getting in a hamstring stretch, waking it up. And then you can stay here if you want. If you want a little bit more, just crawl your hands up to your calf, raise your shoulders up off the mat just a little. Try to bring your head up closer towards your foot. And release, you can bring it all the way back down. You can keep that left leg straight or you can bend the knee, whatever feels more comfortable. And we're going to take that left leg all the way across to the right side. So we're coming into a twist. Your arms can be out into a T shape or down into a cactus shape. And just twist that knee across the body. It might not come all the way to the ground. Bring it just wherever feels good. If you have anything to prop it up, bring the floor closer to you. That's always great. So something like a bolster, a stack of books, some pillows, all good things to use as props. Take 1 more breath here. And then we'll roll back into center. Take the left leg long on the mat, grab onto the right shin, pull it all the way in towards you. And we'll hold here for a minute, and then you can start making those big circles with the right knee, massaging out through the right side of the body. Come back into center, take that right foot up towards the ceiling, grab onto the hamstring, pull towards yourself any amount. And then start to walk your hands up your leg. Bring your shoulders up off the mat, your head closer towards your foot. Start to come back down. You can bend the knee or keep that leg straight. Bring the arms back down into your T or your cactus shape, and then we'll start to twist towards the left. Bring that right leg over. Deep breaths here, still focusing on your core. You want it to still have a little bit of tension, like 10% tension left in your core, so it's helping out with our twist so it doesn't all go into our lower back. And you can start to come back into center. Bring both knees into the chest, squeeze them in. And then bring the feet down to the mat. And reach your fingertips towards your heels. See if you can touch your heels. And then we'll bring our elbows down, point your fingers up to the ceiling, like feeling like robot arms, something like that. So we're gonna come into a bridge, but first we're gonna do a thoracic bridge. So that's just our upper spine. So we're gonna leave the hips on the mat. You're just gonna push through your elbows. It's a really subtle, gentle movement, but your chest just comes up off the mat slightly. Hips are still on the ground. Breathe here, nice gentle back bend. And release, bring the upper spine back down. Reach for your heels again, make sure your feet haven't moved or wiggled away. And on your next inhale, start to lift the hips up off the mat, coming into our classic bridge. And you can roll your shoulders under the body, clasp your hands together, push through the elbows again. You don't want any pressure in the back of the neck. You still want to be able to breathe and talk normally. Try to focus on your knees coming in together instead of going out to the sides. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. Just firing up through the glutes. 1 more time. And then release the hands, slowly roll the spine all the way back down. From here, bring the knees back into the chest, squeeze them in 1 more time, and then bring the hands underneath the knees. You're just gonna start to rock up and down the spine. Feeling a bit like a kid, roll up and down a couple more times. It's like a bit of a massage. And then the next time you roll up, just cross your ankles, come to a comfortable seat. From here, just bring your hands to your knees, nice, comfortable, natural position. And we're just gonna start to make big circles into the hips. So just move your torso slowly around in a circle. Let's go 3 times in one direction, and then switch, go 3 times in the other. Come back into center. We're just gonna bring our left fingertips down beside us, stretch them out to the side, and then start to bring your right ear down closer towards your right shoulder. So we're getting a big stretch here in the left side of the neck. And breathe into that space. Our necks are all carrying a lot of tension these days. So we'll spend another couple breaths here, trying to get into that connective tissue. On your next breath, just start to bring your nose down slightly, a bit more towards your shoulder. And then point it up towards the ceiling. Still trying to bring the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Good, you can slowly make your way back into neutral. Wiggle anything out that you feel like you need to. And we'll move on to the other side. So right fingertips can come all the way down. Slowly start to bring the left ear down towards the left shoulder. One side might feel way tighter than the other. That is the case with me right now. Just breathe through it. It'll start to get better. Two more breaths. And then you can start to bring your nose down closer towards that shoulder. And then when you're ready, take the nose a little bit towards the ceiling. And then start to make your way back into neutral. Wiggle anything out that you feel like you need to. And now we're going to bring the head, tip the head all the way back, bring the chin up, stretching out the front of the neck. If you feel like you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can push the bottom teeth out. Start to bring the chin back down, come back into center. Let's interlace the fingers, push the hands out in front, round out the spine. And then bring the hands up overhead, stretch out through the sides of the body. And then we'll transition the hands to the back of the head and just push your head into your hands and your hands into your head. Create a little bit of resistance. Creating a nice straight spine. One more breath. And release. Start to bring the hands back down. From here, just take this left leg out long. The right foot can stay in. We're going to bring left hand just to the inside of the left leg, or you can bring it onto the left leg if that feels better. On your next inhale, bring your right hand up overhead, stretch out through the right side of the body. You can look towards the right hand or down to the left, whatever feels better in your neck. And just breathe into that space. When you're ready, start to loop that right hand around. It can come to the side or slightly behind you. We're going to come up onto the right knee. And the left hand will come up and over, stretch out through the other side. You'll get a bit of a pull in that left hip here as well. And then sit your hips back down. And we'll switch the legs. So left foot can come in, right foot goes out. Bring the right hand down, whatever you did on the other side, and inhale the left arm up and over. Big breaths here. Create some space. And then when you're ready, take that left hand to the side or slightly behind you, come up on the left knee, right arm goes up and over. Try to keep that right foot on the ground to get a bit more of a stretch in the right hip. And then send hips back down, come to seated. Cross the ankles again in front of you, and we'll just roll up over the ankles and come into a tabletop position. So your hands are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. From here, we're just going to warm up the wrists a little bit. Let's just rock back and forth over the wrists. And then let's tuck the toes under. We'll stretch out the feet at the same time. So push back through the hands, stretch out the feet, and then rock forward over the wrists. Go back and forth like this. If your feet feel particularly tight, you can stay back in this position for longer, pushing through the hands. Or same thing with the wrists. If you want a little bit more attention there, you can just come up and rock back and forth up here. Wherever you are, we'll head back into our tabletop. Untuck the toes, roll the ankles around a bit. And then let's get strong in our foundation. When you're ready, pick up the right foot, send it all the way back behind you. Once you feel solid here, pick the left arm up, take it out in front. You want to keep the back of the neck long so you're looking down at your mat. This is called a bird dog. So let's hold here for a second. And then when your next inhale comes, crunch everything into center. Bring your elbow to touch your knee in the center of the body. And then on your exhales, extend back out long. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, come in, knee to elbow. And extend long. Crunch everything in on the inhale. And extend back out long. Bring the left hand down. And we'll take the right foot to the outside of the right hand. We're just going to start to rock back and forth here, getting a little bit more into that right hamstring and left hip. Same thing goes in this position as the last. So if you feel more comfortable up here and you really want some more attention in your hip, you can stay static up here. Or if you want more attention in the hamstring, you can come all the way back and just hold here. If not, we're just going to keep rocking a few more times. And the next time you rock forward, we'll place both hands on the mat. Once you feel solid, leave your right hand down. Start to bend that back knee, and you can grab onto the back foot for a quad stretch. Pull that left foot in towards you if this feels good. If not, you can just stay leaning forward, focusing more on the hip. One more breath. And then release that foot, take it back down behind you. Rock back, and we'll end up back in our tabletop. And we'll move on to the other side. So take that left foot back behind you. Once you feel solid, pick up the right hand, take it out in front. On your inhales, crunch into center. And on your exhales, extend out long. Try to make it just a little bit slower than you want to. Let's go 2 more times. And then next time you extend, bring the right hand down, take the left foot to the outer edge of the left hand, and we'll rock back and forth on this side. Follow your breath here, or maybe your music if you're playing music. The next time you rock forward, bring both hands down on the inside of that left foot. And then we'll start to bend the right knee, grab onto the right foot with the right hand. Pull it towards you for your quad stretch. You're letting that left knee come all the way out to the side on the outer edge of the left foot. Let's take one more breath. And release. Start to let that foot come down. Rock back until you're back on your tabletop. And we'll come up into tall kneeling. So from here, bring your hands as if you were putting them in your back pockets. Just try to lean back slightly. You can let the head come back if you want to, but just focus on bringing the elbows back as far as you can. And breathe. And release. Come back into a neutral spine. Bring the hands back down. Tuck the toes under. And from here, we're just going to pick up the knees 1 inch. Hold here for a breath. Feel your core turning back on. And release. Bring the knees back down. Take a breath in between. And then let's lift up again. This time, we're going to take 5 breaths here. So that first one was just a little teaser. 3 more breaths. Last one. And then bring the knees back down, untuck the toes. Bring the hands a little bit farther out in front, and the knees can come together. And here we're just going to start making big circles with the hips. So same idea as when we were in our seated position. Let's go 3 times in one direction and switch 3 times in the other. Start to bring the hands closer towards you. Take the knees wide this time. Big toes can come to touch. Let's bring the right hand just under the center of the chest, and we'll inhale the left arm up. On your exhale, loop that left arm through the right. You can bring the head down. And we'll follow your breath. So on your inhales, the left arm comes up. And on your exhale, loop it through. Last one, bring the left arm up. And then bring it back down to the mat. Replace the right hand with the left. And continue with your breath. Inhale the right arm up. And exhale, loop it through. Last one, inhale up. And exhale, bring that right hand down. Knees can come closer together. Let's just reach the fingertips forward and sit the hips back. Come into a child's pose. So you can bring your forehead all the way down. You can make this active at first so your fingertips can be up, stretching out the back. Or if you want a little bit more tension released in the neck, you can bring your arms all the way down by your sides. And take a few more breaths here. Just focus on reconnecting with your breath. Feel your belly rise and fall between your knees. Wherever you are, let's start to bring the hands out in front. And we'll take the hands all the way over to the right side of your mat. So you're pulling through your left hand, your left finger pads, and you're gonna get a big stretch on the left side of the body, the left lat. Breathe into that space, try to bring the forehead back down. One more breath. And then we'll pick the forehead up, start to crawl your hands through center all the way over to the left-hand side. Same thing, pull through the right hand, the right finger pads, and then bring the forehead back down. Start to lift the head back up, bring the hands back into center. Lift up into your tabletop. From here, we'll tuck the toes under. Then we're going to lift the hips all the way up, make our way into our first downward dog. And you can pedal out the feet here. Some people call this walking your dog. But if you're really tight through the calves, this isn't going to feel super great for this first downward dog, but just pedal it out through the feet until that starts to release a little bit. And then once you feel like you've gotten all the wiggles out, come to stillness and we'll take 2 breaths. Start to tiptoe your feet up to the top of the mat between your hands, fold all the way forward. Let's grab onto opposite elbows here. Just start to sway a little bit back and forth. You want your head to be heavy, no tension in the neck. Maybe shake your head yes and no just to make sure. And just sway. And breathe. On your next breath, you can release your hands, start to roll the spine all the way up to stand, vertebrae by vertebrae on your inhale. Big exhale when you get to the top. When your next breath comes, reach your hands overhead, look towards your hands, and exhale, we'll dive forward again and fold. Bring your hands to your shins, come up halfway on the inhale. And then bring the hands to the mat on the exhale. Take the right foot all the way back behind you. So we're in a lunge with our hands still on the mat. From here, leave the right hand down. Inhale the left arm up. Another twist. And come back down with the left hand. Frame the foot. On your next inhale, use the core. Pick the hands up. Bring them all the way overhead for your high lunge. And then you can start to pivot on the back foot. So your heel of the front foot is lined up with the arch of the back foot. We're coming into warrior two. So sink back down, strong arms. And from here, we're just going to envision that we're not in this cold weather and that we are riding a surfboard somewhere. And just start to rock back and forth, bending the front knee and then the back one. I have never been very successful at surfing. This is probably not even how you do it, but let's just pretend. Keep your arms strong through this, strengthening through the shoulders as we rock back and forth. And then the next time you rock forward, keep that bend in the knee, bring the elbow to the knee. Inhale the right arm all the way overhead. Let's use the core to lift us back up, come through your warrior two, bring the right hand down the right leg, turn the left hand, bring it overhead, exalted warrior. Look towards that left hand. And then on your next breath, cartwheel the hands down to frame the left foot, come up onto the back toes. From here, we're just going to hop that back foot in halfway. So we are folding over the front leg. If you want to get a bit more of a stretch in the chest, you can hinge all the way up to stand and then interlace your fingers behind your back and hinge forward and fold over that front leg again. And this time you let gravity take your hands down and you're opening up through the collarbones, through the chest. If that feels good in your body. One more breath here. And then you can release the hands, bring them to your hips, hinge all the way back up. We're going to pop off that back foot, send it back behind you again, and bring the hands down to frame the left foot. From here, shift your weight forward, pick up the back foot, take it as high as you can into the sky, come into standing splits. And then you can stay here if this feels good, or if you want to play with some balance, you can square the hips to the mat and start to hover your fingertips off the mat, or come all the way into warrior three, which is like your airplane pose, so your hands can be down by your sides, or you can bring biceps up by the ears if you want a bit more of a challenge. But staying down here in your standing splits is also totally great. Wherever you are, start to send that right foot back again, so we're back in our lunge position, and then bring the hands all the way down. Take the left foot back beside the right, so we're in plank. And then bring the knees down, lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring your hands just slightly in front of you. On your next breath in, we're going to loop the shoulders up, back, and down, come into cobra. And exhale, release. Inhale, lift back up, pull through the finger pads. You want to be feeling like you're pulling forward. And exhale, release. Let's come up again, inhale. And this time, if you want to, bring the left shoulder down, look over the right. And on your exhales, come down, bring the forehead or the chin back down. Inhale, come up one more time. Right shoulder comes down, look over the left. And release, come all the way down. You can bring one cheek to your mat or stack your fists on top of each other. Make a little pillow for your forehead. And take a breath here, just take a rest. Start to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders on your next breath. We'll push up through your tabletop and come back into your downward facing dog. Pedal out through the feet and then find your stillness. Take 2 breaths. Try and make your downward dog feel restful. Start to tiptoe your feet to the top of the mat, fold forward. And instead of grabbing opposite elbows this time, let's slide the hands underneath the feet and just start to press through your toes. Give yourself a hand massage or a wrist massage, depending on where your toes end up. Still a really heavy head, no tension in the neck. And release that. You can start to bring your hands out. Roll up again on the next inhale, all the way to stand. Exhale when you get to the top. On your next breath in, bring your hands overhead, look up, and exhale, fold. Come up halfway on the inhale, and exhale, bring the hands down. Take the left foot all the way to the back of the mat, hold here. And then we're going to leave the left hand down, inhale the right arm all the way up. Lots of twisting, just to decompress the spine a little bit. It's not a motion that we do all that much in our day-to-day life. On your next breath, bring the right hand down. Use the core, pick the hands up, bring them up overhead, high lunge. And then pivot on the back foot to come into your warrior 2. So bend that front knee. Heel of the front foot is in line with the arch of the back foot. And then we're going to start to rock back and forth, getting into bending the front knee and then the back, pretending that we're on our surfboard. Strong arms. Feel like the shoulders are plugging into one another on the back. And you're just gazing somewhere over that right hand. The next time you rock forward, bend that knee, bring the elbow to the knee, inhale, left arm up overhead. Breathe here. And then use the core, lift up through warrior 2, bring the left hand down the left leg, right hand goes up and over exalted warrior. One more breath. And then start to cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot, come up onto the back toes. From here, we're just gonna hop the back foot in halfway. So you can stay here in your forward fold over that front leg, or you can come up, interlace the fingertips, pull down, so you're opening up the chest, and then hinge at the hips, and let gravity take your hands just a little bit farther. Wherever you are now, we're going to start to make our way back to having our hands down on the mat. Bring the back foot to the back of the mat again instead of halfway up. And then we're going to use that back foot to rock forward, coming into our standing splits, balancing on that right foot. Our fingertips are on the ground. And again, you can stay here or you can start to square the hips, hover the fingertips off, or bring the hands by the sides, or biceps up by the ears. Whatever version of this balancing pose you feel like doing, if you feel like balancing at all. If not, your fingers can stay on the mat and you're standing split. That's also great. Wherever you are, we're going to start to reach those left toes all the way back again. Bring the hands down. Take that right foot back beside the left, so we're in plank. Hold here, take a breath. And this time, you can bring your knees down, or you can just lower slowly all the way from your chaturanga push-up. Will land on the front of the body. Hopefully gently. From here, we're going to stretch out through the front of the shoulders and the pecs. So we're going to take that left arm all the way out towards the side. Tap the right fingertips. And you can leave your head down. We're just going to use that right hand to push us over to the side. You can bend that right knee if you want to. Use it kind of as a kickstand. But you're stretching out through the chest on the left side. Only going as far as feels good. One more breath. And then we're going to start to roll through center. Bring the left hand in, take the right arm out. Tent the left fingertips, use them to push you over. And we're on to the other side, stretching out the right side of the chest and the front of that shoulder. It's really important to do back bends and to open up the chest when we're on our computers all day. So this one might be tender for you. Whenever you're ready, let's start to roll back into center. You're going to leave your forehead down if you can, or if you want to have it raised a little bit, that's also okay. We're going to do, they're called prone swimmers. So essentially, it's like a snow angel on your stomach. So bring your hands all the way out in front. Try to keep your neck long. And then you're going to take your hands as far up as you can. Bring them all the way back behind you until they can interlace at your low back. And then all the way forward. It's much harder than it looks. We're going to do 3 more of these. You might get some cracks out in the shoulders. 2 more. Last one. And when you come forward, bring your other cheek down or your forehead. Take a rest. From here, you can start to bring your hands back under your shoulders. We'll push up all the way until we're back in our plank. And you can move through whichever vinyasa suits you. So you can bring your knees down and go through cobra like we did before, or you can go through your chaturanga push-up, upward facing dog, and we'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Same thing here, pedal at the feet, stretch out the calves, and then find your stillness, take 2 breaths. From here, bring the feet just a little bit closer together. You're going to leave your left foot down, and on your next breath, the right foot's going to come all the way up into the sky behind you. You can bend the knee, open up that hip to the side wall, and just make a few big circles with that knee in either direction. And then we'll shift forward, start to bring that right knee behind the right hand. So your shin of that right leg is coming as close to parallel as you feel like you want to. It's no big deal at all if it's at a 45. And we're moving into pigeon. So your back leg is straight out behind you. Front leg is at a 45 or parallel. And you can stay up here if you want to, or you can come into sleeping pigeon, which just means you're coming to your elbows. You can, again, stack your hands on top of each other, bring your forehead down. This is supposed to be a really restful pose here, so if it doesn't feel good, you might want to put a pillow or a prop underneath your right butt cheek. And we'll be here for a little while, 5 to 10 breaths. So if you're not comfortable, make yourself comfortable. Focus on coming back to your breath. Let's take one more breath here together. And then you can start to prop yourself back up onto your hands. Tuck the back toes. And we're just going to lift up until you can bring that back leg, or the top leg back beside your back leg. We're moving our way back into downward dog. Same thing goes here, roll around the ankles, stretch out the calves, and then find your stillness, take 2 breaths. Bring your feet a little closer together, take that left foot up into the sky, and you can bend the knee, open the hip if that feels good, and just make some big knee circles. Couple times in one direction, switch, go a couple times in the other, and then shift forward, bring the left knee just behind the left hand, and lengthen out into your pigeon. Whatever you ended up doing on the other side, move your way into that now. Make it restful, make it really comfortable. And then deepen the breath one more time. Let's take one more breath. And then you can start to prop yourself back up onto your hands. Tuck the back toes. Shift back into your down dog. Pedal out the feet, take your 2 breaths. We'll start to walk to the top of the mat, fold forward. Sometimes I find it feels good to interlace my fingers behind my head here and just use that as a little bit more traction on the neck. If you want to stretch it out, stretch out the spine. From here, start to heel toe your feet out wide. We're going to make our way to seated. So from here, your toes are pointing kind of out at a 45 degrees. Reach your hands all the way forward and just sit your hips back. So if this is too much on your hips, you can just kind of be halfway up and rocking back and forth like this. If you are able to reach your hands all the way forward in this yogi squat, this will be a good release for the lower back. If you have any lower back tension, And hold here for a couple breaths, or if this is something that is painful or not at all enjoyable for you, just go all the way to seated right away. If you are still in your yogi squat here, you can make your way down to seated now. Take your legs out in front, just give them a shake. And let's inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, fold forward, reach for your shins or your toes, whatever's available to you today. You can let the head be heavy here as well and the spine round out. And start to roll the spine back up. Let's tent the fingertips behind the back. Straighten the arms and just push the chest out forward. Legs are still straight out in front. One more breath here. And release, come back to a neutral spine. From here, you can just bring your feet together, bring them as close in as feels good for you. This is called butterfly. This might be another good place to have something under your knees, bring the ground closer to you. From here, you can fold forward, get a little bit more into the hips. If that doesn't feel good at all, or if your hips have had too much for this practice, this is also something that I really love to do. So interlace your fingers with your toes. So my left fingers are going in between my right toes. And this is something that if you don't have a ton of ankle mobility, can be really beneficial for you. So, or if your ankles are always rolling while you're running, things like that. So with our fingers interlaced in our toes, you're just gonna roll the ankle around in one direction and then roll it around in the other. From here, come back into center and just start to twist your foot towards you like you're opening a pickle jar. The biggest benefit to all of this is actually the fact that your fingers are between your toes. So the more toe dexterity you're able to have, the better balance you'll have, the better your athletic performance will be. Does so much good for the body and our balance. So let's start to twist the foot the other way. This is giving you more range of mobility in your midfoot, which is responsible for a lot more of your balance and your ankle stability than people realize. Okay, you can come back into neutral and release. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and we'll switch sides. Interlace your right fingers into your left toes, and just roll the ankle around a few times in each direction. Come into neutral, twist the foot towards you like you're opening your pickle jar. And then let's go the other way, twist the other way. This also has big, big benefits if you have a lot of calf tightness or hip tightness, because everything is connected all up the chain, all your fascial lines. That's why a lot of the times if you're seeing chiropractors or physios, if you have low back pain, it might be connected to your left shoulder. Everything's connected. So you can bring that back into neutral. Take your fingers out from your toes, roll that ankle around, wiggle the fingers. From here, just come into a comfortable seated position. Actually, let's cross the ankles in the way that feels less natural for you, because we were in our seated position at the beginning of class. Now cross your ankles the opposite way. Might be a little bit to think about. We're going to do one more twist before we head into our resting pose. So tent your right fingertips behind you, use it to create a really straight spine, and then bring your left hand to your right knee and just use that as a little bit of leverage to twist towards the right, but you still want it mostly to be coming from your core. One more breath. And come back in through neutral. Let's tent the left fingertips. Straight spine, right hand comes to left knee. We'll twist towards the left. On your inhales, that's when you want to focus on that straight spine, and on your exhales, that's when you deepen your twist if you feel like you want to. And only take your head as far as your shoulder. You don't want to crank your head as far back as it can possibly go. That creates a little bit more tension on the neck than we want right now. And start to release that, come back into neutral. From here, we can make our way into Shavasana, our final resting pose while we are lying on our back. Or something I really love to do if you have a clear-ish wall that's near you is coming up to the wall, lying on your back and taking your legs up the wall. So this is something that is really, really great for our lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system is essentially our waste management system of the body. And it doesn't have a pump the way that our blood does, so it requires movement and things like this pose in order for our lymphatic system to be able to work properly. So that's a big piece of the reason that I love this pose, or just yoga in general. So whichever one of those two poses you want to choose to end your practice with, we're going to be there for the next 5 minutes. So wherever you feel like you can really just relax and kind of melt into your mat or with your legs up the wall. We're going to take a break, focus on your breathing, focus on sending your breath to any areas of the body that you feel like still have some tension. And just notice where in your body you feel like the work is settling in. Wherever you are, you can start to bring yourself back into the room, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring the knees up into your chest. And you can roll over onto one side and push yourself up to seated. From here, let's just take a deep breath together just to close off our practice. So in your comfortable seat, let's inhale. Thanks for practicing with me today, everybody. I hope you have a great night and that I see you again soon. Namaste.